Now, I'll give a little bit of the history of SEMIS in that we started our program in 2010, that far. And AGRA has been very gracious, has been continuously been giving us support. We had what we called phase 1, and phase 1 is reflecting the people we worked with. It is a very collaborative program which we set up here. It will not be delivered by College of Agriculture and Veterinary Sciences alone. You will have other people who are supporting us to deliver this program. So, for instance, this week, maybe this might be my only interaction. I'll be in the back, at the back there. You have seen the boss has arrived, the dean. The program is under the business school. So they are the ones for this week and next week. They are the people who really deliver the program for us. We give logistical support in there. That's how we designed the program so that you can be able to serve the seed sector in sub-Saharan Africa. Otherwise, if we made it just purely an agriculture program, there will be some missing components in there. So we started off with that team. I lead the program, Mwang'ombe up there. Then we have Professor Olbayo. She'll be joining us this afternoon. She has another program she's running also for sub-Saharan Africa. So she's a bit tied up. Then we had our colleague, late Professor Kiarie. He was the team member. And then we have the other project team. Then we had CIMIT, represented by Dr. John McRobert at the initial stage. You'll be surprised that after Dr. John McRobert came here and was a trainer, at his retirement, he got motivated and he's now competing with you people. He has set up a seed company also. And I thought that someone, having been a trainer with us here, he should be able to move. He asked the wife to come here and to be trained by SEMIS, so that it's more of business, not husband and wife business. So he has set up a seed company in South Africa, but I believe with his roots in Zimbabwe, he must be doing some things there. Then we have KEFIS. KEFIS is a plant protection organization, what we call National Plant Protection Organization. We cannot deliver this course without that input. You are aware the regulatory frameworks in your countries can be very constraining, and I can tell you the interaction with KEFIS in here, it has become a motivator to you people. When you go back, you have demanded services from your governments. We have seen you people are even moving faster than even us. I was in Ghana the other day, and I found they have changed their law. Now you can register a company to handle purely early generation seeds, which wasn't there. In Kenya, we are still working it out, and we are the people who ignited you. We have found the same. I think Tanzania is working towards the same. So when you come here, you learn, but you go there with something new to make demand from the government, because you cannot run a seed company without respecting those trading regulations. And they are the ones to really go to Parliament and do some improvements. So I'm hoping in Kenya, we'll now also have some clear focus as far as how we are handling early generation seed, which you know is a big constraint to your businesses. And then we have CALRO. CALRO is the research organization in Kenya. We get people there. Then we have consultants. I think you might have interacted with Aline O'Connor in the field, but she came in as a trainer with us here, but Kenya is beautiful, I can tell you that. So she's now settled here in Kenya. So she's doing some work bigger for Africa. So when you meet her, she's not coming from US. She's coming from Kenya here. She has set up a company called Agribusiness. So who tells you Africa, we don't have opportunities? It's us, I think, who sit on those opportunities, isn't it? Then we have Iowa State University in US, who have been very, very instrumental in the design of the infrastructure. All I wanted was a replica to facilitate the work training. I didn't want to pick what was in Iowa State. And the engineers there were ever so supportive. And we are sitting in an infrastructure where Iowa State provided the specs. They visited severally to work with our local engineers to deliver what we have. And even when you are here, we'll try to give you an opportunity to see our seed factory, which is just next door here. I believe we might be processing some seed this week, so you'll have an opportunity to see that. You are the bosses, so I think you need to just see beyond the course we are training you on. So in brief, that's how we started. We have a very clear goal, and our goal has never changed. Eradication of food and nutrition insecurity through capacity building of seed sectors, and you are the people to provide the quality seed, which the farmers are demanding for us to really be able to get the food we are talking about and the nutritious food we are looking for, and at affordable prices. I hope we are getting this at affordable prices. That's difficult. So that's how we come in as a university. I've just come from Senegal. I don't know how many of you, did anybody attend AFSTA? AFSTA is an organization for African Seed Trade Association. So the people who own it are really you people. I met a few of the seed companies in there. Last year they were here in Kenya. Then they meet annually, so they were in Dakar, and I was there. And the demand for capacity building is very high, really high. I met some of the people who we had trained before, and they just tell me, like there were companies from Mali, they just say, Prof, why don't you come and visit us and see how we have moved forward? So I do hope that indeed we'll make that difference. That's the partnerships arrangement under phase 1. I've already talked about that. Then under phase 1, we were lucky, rather we covered many countries, about 22 countries. And under phase 1, we trained 504 people in the region in there. And then we had phase 2, which was funded, but before phase 2, we also had another responsibility of developing long-term courses because the capacity is not there. So after we interrogated that, we developed a master's program so that anybody who feels like coming back to do a master's in seed science could come back. And this is master's in seed technology and business management in there. And this has been running, it's in the third year. And AGRA, once they learned that we had this program, because it was one of their outputs, they now gave a grant to start off the program. And the first students we had were from DRC Congo, South Sudan, Tanzania, and a few Kenyans. Then again, they gave a second layer, again, targeting the same countries. So it is you people, you are in touch with AGRA. If you have some of your people who want, you contact them. We are not the ones who select you people, isn't it? And we are hoping that AGRA will be here to meet some of you. So in phase 2, we trained over 300 participants, and now we are in phase 3. We are supposed to do about 135 people. So in total, by the time, by January, we had already done 885 people trained through savings. And then in between, SEMIs have become, it was a program for University of Nairobi, but there is that kind of demand coming from other areas. So we went, my colleague here, Professor Aosa, and three other colleagues, we went now to set up SEMIs in a French-speaking country in Senegal to take care of Mali, Senegal, Niger, Burkina Faso. And I'm told they have added another country. And that was funded by USAID in there. When I was in Dakar the other day, they were running the course, and they say it has been very successful. But it was far. I couldn't go and meet the participants. But at the same time here, we train even the French-speaking country people, so long as you can follow the English. That is one thing. But we are also almost completing interpretation of the course modules so that we can, when you come, you can be able to get a French version if that's the language you're more conversant with. Now, our course is focused a lot on experiential learning. We do very little talking. Actually, we try to minimize about 40%. So we encourage you people to ask questions, discuss with us, so that we are not loading you down with theory. When it comes to the other programs, actually we visit other partners, we set up experiments in the lab, and so on. And when I've just finished touring the other places, we've noticed that some of the techniques, basic ones we take, are already being implemented. For instance, why should we be quarreling with the National Plant Protection Organization on that your seed might have been not favored? There's nothing like favoring. If the seed is not germinating, it's not germinating. You can set a small lab and already do some germination tests. You can even set some small lab with basic equipment, not what we are going to, we demonstrate, rather we use here, to be able to know, is your seed infected or not? So that when you get the results, you can even disqualify your own seed. And that is, Kenya is working towards where you can have your self-audit, and you don't need KEFIS to come and tell you your seed is disqualified. You can disqualify your own seed. We grow seed here. I'm a plant pathologist. And one of the things, one time I walk into the field and I find that it has disease, I say, no, this now is no longer seed. And sometimes my other colleagues who are not in my profession say, how can you do that? This seed is very expensive. How can you be disqualifying? I say, no, I don't need KEFIS to tell me. I know it is beyond the disease threshold. So we disqualify it. We pass it to the farm manager to sell it as food, instead of it going into the kind of the process. I have talked about the numbers so far we have done, and that is the layout on the countries where we have visited. And this is the seed processing factory in here. You'll be able to, it's just next door, so we'll make sure you visit it and see. And also when we run the, in between we'll put the video running, you'll see quite a bit of that. But again, you look at it, when you go and see it, as it was custom made. As we developed the building, we had already specified what type of equipment was coming and so on. So ours is a one line. While I've visited you people, because you are buying piece by piece, you find the cleaner is here, there's a lot of heaving, carrying, then it is at another corner and so on. So for those of you who have not set up the full lines, it would be nice you know what type of equipment you're picking so that you can design, it cuts down on labor costs, because you spend a lot of money now employing people to lift those heavy gunny bags and so on. So ours is a one-line business, and we thank Iowa State. We also do, there are some seeds which were brought or bred here in the University of Nairobi, specifically beans. And so we had them released, and we maintain those early generation or foundation seed. We do that. University of Nairobi entered into an arrangement with some seed companies to be growing beans. But as you know, beans or any self-pollinating crop And you know that that's nowhere where you make the big money, isn't it? The big money is with a cross-pollinator. And the farmers know, if I'm buying a hybrid maize and I want that hybrid vigor, I have to go back to the seed company. But with beans, they know very well, if I keep an eye on diseases and so on, I can recycle the seed a bit before I go back to the seed companies to buy. So you know where you make your money, isn't it? So we are doing that, and I can tell you sometimes we end up with very good seed, which has already been certified by, KEFIS, and the seed companies who we have signed with are dildaling to kind of pick it. Now, we also attend other places, like we have shown, we go to steel market KEFIS everywhere, rather semis everywhere, and those are some of the congresses. I've just said I've been to Dakar to attend that. Our website, visit our website to get some of the information. And I'm with a colleague who will talk a little bit more about the website and doing business using, I usually call it using the underworld. If you are not there, I'll ask that question and I'll leave that to the person who is going to make a presentation. If your company doesn't have a website, please start thinking, because you can imagine how you are keeping yourself off the business. The other day I was just telling the seed companies in Ghana, I didn't need a travel agent to tell me where I was going to sleep when I was in Ghana. I just went online, looked for the hotel, checked is that what my pocket can, and I went there. I booked online, and I showed up. But if those, the hotels which are not in there, they missed my business. So it is the same with you. If you are staying on, depending only on these papers alone, you are denying yourself business. So I'll leave that to my colleague who will be exposing you to that. Then at the end of the day, as you are here, you'll accept the title you are students, isn't it? And you better enjoy that title. For 1 week, 7 days, it's very precious. Yeah, I told you we don't introduce our university. And to get into the website to know why we don't introduce us as professors here, we feel, no, why should we introduce a university which is already known? So enjoy the title. When it comes on Saturday, we shall translate you from student to graduate. Now, that is usually a very short period when the dean has declared you have passed, and now you are waiting to be given your certificate. Sindio? And that one, we enjoy it a very short time. And then now the dean now comes and declares that indeed you have satisfied all whatever. And now you are entitled to a certificate, isn't it? So we do that. And I was very surprised when I've been in touch with people. Frankly, I hope we are not, anyway, you are the bosses, so I'm not worried. But if you are to be sincere, you are losing your staff members a lot, isn't it? We have realized people who have come here, you are lucky to still be retaining your staff, 50%, and take advantage of this guy and his team to give you the strategy on how to retain your staff. Because the fact that we have come and trained them here, should not mean that now they can go out and negotiate. How are you? What are your strategies? He is the person with his team to help you that even if you have brought these people and had them trained, they can still retain, stay there and give you the best, isn't it? So otherwise, if you miss out on the strategy, the staff mobility we have seen is big. Someone just shows up with this certificate. You say, I was here in the University of Nairobi and I trained in this, and say, oh, is that so? Okay, move over. Some have even moved, who are meeting people who have come for this 1 week course, and they are being hired into national plant protection organizations in there to see how they can move and guide the seed sector in their country. So learn the strategy so that we can all be together. So that was my short overview on who SEMIS is, and then I will leave any interaction. You can ask more question later, but we'll get to the level where we want to know each other properly.